All right, so this is Regan Adams with All Things Regan. Thank you for joining me this morning on Regan Says, and I'm kind of propped up here on my desk. Yeah, I've been doing videos in my car so long now that when I came to set up, I forgot my tripod was broken. So I was like, oh my gosh, what a curse. Y'all should see how this thing is rigged up, but nevertheless, I'm on and it's up, and I have got to remember to stop doing these videos at night because I look tired. It's very late. So anyway, but y'all understand. So the title today is very long and I don't remember what it was, but I know what I'm talking about. I am talking about entrepreneurs or women who, or people, but now I'm gonna talk to women because I talk to the ladies. So women or entrepreneurs that do the same thing. So example, I am an event planner. I have written a book, so I'm also an author. I have a jewelry line that I haven't come back out yet, but nevertheless it's still there. So I sell jewelry. I have a candle line, so I sell candles. I have a t-shirt line, so I sell t-shirts, okay? I said event planner. All of those things that I just named, other people do them. And they were doing them long before I got here. Okay, in 1979, they were doing them long before I got here. Okay. When you go to the store, this is the best description I can give you. When you go to the grocery store, and I saw this online somewhere and I thought it was brilliant. There are tons of, let's say you go to the bread aisle, okay? You have Kearns, you have Wonder Bread, you have Merita, you have Walmart, Alpha, you got all kinds of breads. So why in the world would anybody think that what you may do, nobody else is going to do? And that's even in the Bible. There's nothing new under the sun. It has been done before. They were putting events together back in the Bible. Jesus being born was an event. So, I'm just saying, I cannot get mad if there is another event planner. Example, the event I went to Friday, Shantae Swain. She's an event planner here in Knoxville. Okay, when I saw her, I guess she had done an ad or something on Facebook, and I was like, oh, she's in Knoxville. So I went to look at her naturally, and I was like, okay, she's gonna be good. I mean, it's cool because there's not a lot of us black event planners in Knoxville. So I was like, okay, cool, sis, and so I started looking where I could support instead of saying, oh my gosh, look at her. She coming on the scene and she trying to do what I do. That's dumb. And I can speak on this because when I first started with event planning, I used to be real hung up on anybody doing events in Knoxville or anybody I was friends with on social media, which I've had it happen, that have copied off of me. And let me tell you something about that. And I'm gonna try not to be all over the place with it. Nothing that I've done, any kind of event that I've done, even though they have come from an original place, and I can tell you why I started putting me first. My very first event was started out of a need for me to be able to find who I was, my person outside of my husband and our daughter, and that I needed to intentionally take a break. In that moment, or in that time frame, I ended up finding out that I had a lot of different gifts that I wasn't using. So in turn, I started a business which speaks to other women to do the same thing and be intentional about it. Okay, so that was my reason for starting Putting Me First. Putting Me First grew into All Things Regan because I had all this other stuff. that I like to do, and that all kind of goes together. So all things Regan, okay? But nothing that I've done is new, right? Now, somebody could easily say, and I remember actually having a conversation with some lady, saw my event on Facebook and wanted to attend. So she was really just, to be honest, I don't think she was interested in the event, but she called to pick my brain. I may not say anything, but you know, I'm very, anyway, I know where you're coming from, so you can kind of try to run some game. And I may not say anything, but I know. So anyway, I think she was really just kind of calling to pick me and see where I got putting me first from, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, you have no idea. My sister and I was just talking about this, and we have the same concept and blah, blah, blah. So God can still give you ideas along the same lines, and you can come up with them for different reasons. And the thing about other people doing what you do, there's money out here for everybody. Like at this point in the game, we still shouldn't be having these conversations of somebody's it's 2 event planners or it's 5 event planners. And you know, on my timeline, and it's crazy because I'm planning for my and I know I'm all over the place, and I'm sorry, just try to follow me. On my timeline, I am hosting a family prom, okay? And I've had the idea for over 3 years. I did a daddy-daughter date night over 3 years ago, and for specific reasons pertaining to my daughter, I did not want to do another one because at that point it was very successful. So I wanted to continue in doing them. But what happened is a lot of people started catching on and doing daddy-daughter date night. Now, I'm not saying, you didn't hear me say I started the trend. You didn't hear me say that here in Knoxville. You didn't hear me say that. So anyway, a lot of daddy-daughter date nights started popping up over Knoxville. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. So Kennedy and I were talking, and she said, you know, Mommy, I think we should, well, let me back up. I had a few people say, what about mothers and sons? What about grandparents? Because what I saw was at my daddy-daughter date night, there are grandparents that take care of their grandchildren. They have custody of them. So I had a couple of those there. So then you have the grandmothers, then you have the aunts. There's so many type of blended families out there that there's a lane that was missing. And I was like, okay. So Kennedy and I were talking about it, and she said, Mommy, we should do one for the family. So I was like, okay, cool. And at that point, I was trying to get her started with her business, and I had a dream, and God was like, just slow up. She's not ready. And I was like, okay, cool. So we just kind of stopped. And then so for some other reasons that I'll talk about another time. So kind of just, we wrote it down, put it on the back burner. Somebody came to me and kind of brought it back up and was like, hey, we need to do this. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, they got busy. Understandable, life gets in the way, they got stuff to do, cool. But it was still like, since you brought it up, and I was like, man, this is burning in me. And I was telling Kenny, like, man, we need to go ahead and do this, because at that other time I had already contacted people to go ahead and get it started, and then so I had to kind of put them on hold. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go forward and do this event. And so I have been in the planning processes, coming back around to what my point. I have been in the planning processes of having somebody come in and decorate, and my DJ and all of that stuff. So I've been working on that all day today, and just getting my budget prepared. And what I found is I have 4 that I can call off the top of my head, 4 people that I'll decorate and do the same thing that live here in Knoxville. And I'm sure there's more, but to me, Knoxville, and I guess it's a regional thing. There are a lot of women here in Knoxville that are good with their hands with like crafts and decorations, and like know how to decorate like a home, or real crafty. It's something in this area. I don't know, but a lot of the women that I've seen or run into are very crafty. So when I was going through, I had asked one of the other ladies, because I was going to do a rental for something else, and I was like, hey, you know, can you recommend such and such? And so we're kind of just going through that. And she was like, well, I do that, you know, I do that too. And I was like, dang. So the good thing about it is there's options. So what I did was I chose the decorator that I wanted to go with, I chose her because, for one, we have a rapport, but she's very sweet, and we gel well. So I chose her. But to know that I have options, and I say that because even though, going back to Shantae, the other event planner, there are going to be some people that are drawn to her. There are going to be some people that are drawn to me, because our personalities are different. We are different people. So, and there's enough people here in Knoxville or wherever they're coming from for both of us to make money and have room to be cool, and on top of that, support one another. So, and essentially, on down the road, I wouldn't even mind working with her. And that's another thing. There's no need to be threatened by somebody that does something, because I'm sure if I sat down and talked to her, there's a lot of things that I can learn. And I'm always, if you know me personally, I'm always up for learning something new. Always, to make me better. Her presentation, on point. Like I said, I'm always trying to feed a big meal because the girl loved to eat. Y'all know that. But the things that she had there, they were enough, and they were filling. I didn't have to do all that. And, you know, she was willing to share advice. So listen, whatever I can learn to be better, that's what I'm going to do. And so you should look at that with your other opponents. There's no need to be like, oh, she decorates, so I ain't fooling with her. Huh? That don't even make sense. Example, I have I have an event coming up next year, and I am collaborating with a young lady who does what I do times 10. I mean, she puts on fashion shows. She's put me first inside. I mean, she's awesome. She does it all. What do I look like saying, because you do this and you deal with women too, I'm not fooling with you? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to collaborate, and I'm going to be exposed to her people, and her people are going to be exposed to mine. We can do more together. So why would you be jealous if somebody else is doing what you do? If anything, you should have your hand extended to say, I like what you're doing. Another example, this weekend, young girl too, listen, Maya Morton, the one who, the event I spoke at for Young and Open this weekend, young girl, but listen, she got some get up and go about her. And one thing that I admire about her that I am just starting to get is getting rid of the pride and being able to ask and network. That girl, listen. I look at her and I'm like, man, I wish I could have started when I was her age, because she has such a vigor for life, a vigor for helping these girls. It's amazing. And when I asked her certain questions, she was like, well, shoot, I was just asking. And you know, I don't mind asking. And I'm thinking, man, is that all you got to do is just ask? Like nothing, you don't know unless you ask. And so I'm learning that. But just to see her in motion and to talk, even though she's 20 years or 19 years, how old is she? 19 years younger than me, I still look at her and learn something. I still look at her and say, we can collaborate, whatever you need. Because there's some things, even though she's younger than me, I can learn. I need to learn because I'm getting older. So it could be something that I'm missing. Matter of fact, I know it's some stuff I'm missing. So when I'm dealing with her, she gonna put me up on what I need to know. And it's gonna be some stuff where I done been in the game for a minute that I can tell her, now sis, you need the X, Y, and Z. So we're learning from one another. Why would I be mad because she's having events? Because she had an event this weekend. She has events all the time. I don't know how many times I got to keep telling y'all about collaborating. You can only go so far by yourself. I don't care how much money you got. And that was another conversation she and I had this weekend. You know, she was talking about some people possibly that she could collaborate with, but they weren't really wanting to do that. I don't understand that. But I don't understand that. If you have resources and you have knowledge and you hold on to that and you're stingy with that and you just use that for your group and for your business, you will only prosper so far. And it may look like you're doing a whole bunch, but really you're just going to be right here. You're going to look at where you were. You may have more money in, but where's your impact? Your impact should continue to grow. And you can only do that when you collaborate with like minds. I'm not saying get with everybody. I don't work with everybody. I don't deal with everybody, even in my everyday life. So I really am not going to just mess with anybody on business, but like minds. The lady that I'm working with and collaborating with for next year, we are like-minded. It's almost like when I'm talking to her, I'm talking to myself. Amber, when I talk to her, and I'm not telling the other lady's name because we're not talking about the event out loud yet, so I'll release that when it's time. But Amber, she and Sabrina are part of Clutch Passports, which are dealing with the Putting Me First trip for Jamaica for me. Excellent. Talking to both of them is like talking to me. Like minds. About business. Gonna check me when I need to be checked. Hey, sis. And that's what I was telling the girls this weekend, the younger girls. Get around some women who make you check yourself. Get around some honest people. Not somebody dry hating. Get around somebody that's doing something. Get around somebody that's moving. Get around somebody that's going to make you feel uncomfortable. Man, she's pretty. Man, she got it going on. Man, her audience is big. Man, she's got an impact. What can I do? Not to be like her, but to walk in my own lane and have an impact as well in my lane. How can I look better and not look so country? How can my hair look better? How can my skin look better? How can I be more presentable to my audience? What changes do I need to make in order to be relevant to my audience? Be more open to have more people in my network, in my audience. Running my PayPal. Not running it, but I'm getting notifications so I'm getting paid. What do I need to do? So those are the women that I'm attracted to. Not attracted to like that, but attracted to as far as business. Because I can look and glean from you all day. I'm going to glean. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to listen. I'm going to learn. I'm going to keep my mouth shut and I'm going to write. I'm going to look at what you're doing. But I'm telling you, we can do so much more together. And I don't know why. Like, I'm not going to say I don't know why. But I've been on this for over a month. And I'm just really repeating myself. But it's just on me so tough. Women in business, you got to get it together. You have to get it together. And if you're not emotionally sound enough to deal with other women in business and competition, you don't need to be out here. You don't need to be out here. And really, your only competition is yourself. You really, and when I say I glean off of certain people, for example, there's a young lady that I watch, Shamika Dean. Go follow her. Ladies, go and follow her. I glean from her a lot. I glean from her a lot. She's that one to make you kind of want to straighten up, get yourself together. Why would I be like, ain't for her? Or be a secret hater in the back, like, she thinks she. Why would I do that? You shouldn't be. Your sister is not your competition. She's your sister. She can help you. But that's why I say, and I said it yesterday, and I've said it all week, we gotta get healed from the inside out when dealing with people. Especially if you are a born-again believer. God helps you through other people. That's how you get blessed. He's not coming down out the sky and boom, helping you with stuff. He uses other people. He puts somebody, like, I'm telling you how my inbox is going. People are just saying, hey, I heard about you. Hey, I saw you. Hey. God is not coming down here and saying that. He's using other people and avenues to get me where I'm going. So why would I cut myself off because I got an attitude because somebody else is doing a put me first type event? What I'm doing is not new. And who I am is different from somebody else. Everybody's not going to be flowing with me. Everybody's not going to flow with whoever else. It's money out here for everybody. And let me also tell you about the algorithms in social media. Anytime you are looking at anything, like even if you Google yourself or Google your business or Google or in Facebook or on social media, the algorithms are going to pick up what you're looking at. And so let's say I'm looking at coaching program. There was a time, which I'm still working on my coaching program. There's a time when I put that in there, I was like, man, all I'm seeing is coaches. Man, man, the industry is saturated with coaches. Saturated. Then something said, no, you need to go back and double check and look at that. So what I found is, what I'm looking at is the algorithms of social media and what I've Googled. I looked in my area. It's not a whole bunch of, listen, the coaches here are so far and in between, it's not even funny. But if I'm going and looking at social media, I'm like, man, it's too much. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to get into selling t-shirts. I'm not going to get into selling jewelry. I'm not going to get into selling hair, lashes. I'm not going to do all that because lipstick, everybody else is doing it. No, baby, it's the algorithms. Do you know how many millions and trillions of people there are in the world? I'm not even talking about the United States. Go outside of the country. Everybody ain't doing it. Your algorithms may show that, but that's just what you Google. That's what you're looking at. But even if it does seem saturated, move around. That's another thing I was telling the girls. Being in Knoxville, a lot of people are like, oh, there ain't nothing to do in Knoxville. I'm gonna keep trying. Keep doing it. And if it don't work in Knoxville, move it around. I started my businesses out and came back in. I'm just now starting to do business here in Knoxville. There's no excuse for you not to bust a move. Example, this weekend coming up, there's a women's empowerment brunch that I'm going to. Those ladies are from Charlotte. And I ain't mad. Because I've done events in Charlotte as well. If your city is saturated, move it around. If it's not popping, move it around and come back in. Because a lot of the time, there's a scripture about that. A prophet is not wanted in his own hometown. I'm sure I'm misquoting that. The people, because sometimes what happens is, and I know I'm all over the place, just follow me. Sometimes people get too familiar with you where you at. Honey, I know people look at me like, oh gosh, Regan, she used to X, Y, and Z, and you know, and they just gonna look and see what you're doing. And they just gonna look and see what you're doing. Okay, so if you don't want to support me here in Knoxville, that's fine. I'm going to go to LA. If you're not going to support me, I'm going to go to Vegas. If you're not going to support me, I'm going to go to Chicago. So now when you see me, they're like, okay, she's doing events in other cities and other states. So now I got all this clout because I went out and came back in when I'm doing the same thing I could have been doing here, which is crazy, but sometimes that's how it works. I don't know. Either way, we don't make excuses for that. I want to be the person who you can come to and say, and I'm ending the video, I want to be the person who you say operates in integrity in my business practices. And I'm straight up. I am supportive. I'm no nonsense because I'm not. When I say my temperament is, my temperament is very short with people, depending on who you are. Some people I give a little extra to, just because. But for the most part, I get turned off very quickly from stuff. Like, I do. But with business, it's kind of like stick and stay because it's a learning thing anyway. But I just want to be straight up, and I want to make sure that I'm always speaking the truth, and I want to make sure that I'm always bringing my women together. Always. Always, always, always bringing us together because we can do more together. You know, I have a book where I was saying that, where God was showing me a bunch of stuff where I wrote down, and it's wrapped in scriptures. If I showed y'all like everything I wrote down, I can't do that by myself. Like I can't. And the crazy thing is there was one thing that is on my, and I'm not going to say what that is, but there's one big thing, big thing that I want to do in the near future. It's multi-million dollars. But the crazy thing is the lady that I'm connected to, that I'm having the event with next year, she came out of her mouth and said almost the exact same things I wrote down in my book. Don't tell me that's a coincidence. It's not. It's not. And guess what? Guess where I met her at? Facebook. My first time seeing her was in March when I went to visit her for her event in Indianapolis. But when I talked to her, you would have thought we were like sisters from another mother. Like it's like the I don't even know what to call it. It's like I've known her all my life. It's like I can just call and talk to her. I've never had that. Ambra. It's like I can just call and talk to her. That's my sister. I met her through Facebook. I met her in person one time. And I went to support her at her event in in Chattanooga a couple of years ago. Sabrina, met her one time. But I talked to them, and I promise you, I feel like I've been knowing them forever. You can't cut yourself off. You're shooting yourself in the leg. I don't know how many times I got to say it. Like, ladies, in business, y'all need to get together and work together. The ladies who are doing decorations and all that stuff, do you know how many events y'all can just get together and throw and make some money and have some parties? But I see some of y'all on here beefing because you jealous. Oh, she thinks that shouldn't even be a conversation. That shouldn't be a conversation. It should be, how can we get together and make this money? Somebody called me last week wanting to get together and do some things. I'm with it. She's like, well, I just didn't know if you really fool with me. Listen, if I didn't fool with you, you would know. You wouldn't even have my number. Just straight up. You wouldn't. I'm with it. And I don't flow with everybody, but I'm with her. She's in Knoxville. You'll see something from us. Look, the little girl who did the prom, the kiddie prom, wonderful job. I don't know her, but she did a wonderful job. I got the people out. That's awesome. But I heard some flack when I was doing my family prom. Oh, you copying. Do you think hers was the only kiddie prom in the world? Mm-mm. You think my family prom is the only one in the world? The reason I came up with family prom is what I said earlier. People were complaining to me about being excluded. Family prom. Everybody get together and dress up. So instead of being upset, how can we work together? Now, again, I'm not going to work with everybody. But for the most part, how can we work together? How can I learn? Can we have a meeting of the minds? And matter of fact, I got something else cooking, but I'll let y'all know for the women in business. I have some things cooking on the horizon because it's time out for all this extra stuff. It just is. It's time out. Like, it's time to grow up. It's time to grow up and glow up. We need to look our best, feel our best, be our best, and we can do that together. And once we figure that out, it's sky's the limit. It is sky's the limit for us. So anyway, tired of preaching. allthingsregan.com on all, Jesus, I've said it all day. allthingsregan.com, All Things Regan on all platforms. Regan Says on YouTube. Genesis coaching program coming. Also, Jamaica, we have an opening. $300 is due at the end of this month. If it is not paid, I'm not opening it back up again. It's been plenty of time. I actually introduced this in March, and I'm pretty good about giving out information. So y'all just gonna have to see the pictures, because listen, we about to have a we about to have a good time in Jamaica. Like, I'm so excited. Kenny was like, Mama, you going? You're not going. Nope. It's the all adults inclusive resort. Y'all gonna see the pictures and be mad. Y'all gonna be mad. I'm just telling y'all gonna be mad. You're gonna say, I should have gone. Yeah, but that's okay. You'll make the next one, because putting me first, all of them will be international for now, and I'm going to be doing local events. Also, outside of the family prom, I announced that I'm doing a mother-daughter weekend. It will be in Nashville. I did put the location down. We're going to start small, which Nashville really is not small anymore. They are up and coming. That cost of living there is retarded, because those hotel rooms are retarded. But it is going to be in Nashville on the 3rd weekend in July of next year. I am excited about this. I have a team of mothers who are actually helping me plan it. I'm also going to be in the midst of interviewing the daughters to see what their needs are. This weekend is, I mean, not this weekend, but that weekend for the mother-daughter retreat is going to be awesome. Again, this is an event that somebody else has had. I didn't come up with it, but for my reasons for coming up with it is because I have a daughter. She's getting older. I want to make sure that I'm connecting with her, because I know sometimes, you know, those mother-daughters, I'm telling you, because sometimes I'll be like, man, I can knock your teeth out your mouth. Shut up. But just make sure that we have these open lines of communication without our cell phones. So I'm just really excited about that weekend. There's more to come with that. I'm still in the planning phases of that. Listen, when I came back from Jacksonville, I hit the ground running. I have merchandise stuff. Like, I really could take about a good month off from work and work on my stuff every day and probably still not be finished, but get just a good start. So I'm excited about all things Regan. I needed that trip. I needed to still kind of find out who I was and where I came from. And listen, my mama, she's so bossy. Like, not bossy as in bossy, but boss, like boss status. And my sisters are too. And I'm just like, man, like, I'm feeling this. And so I just have a whole new look on life and my business and the things that God has for me and the people that are connected to me. So I'm definitely excited about that. So you guys have a blessed rest of the day. I will be talking to you probably later on this week. You know, I'll pop on live at any time, because stuff is always happening, and when I get a thought, I'm going to come to you. So you guys have a blessed day. allthingsregan.com